So now that we've studied box and whisker plots and their main characteristics, now let's actually create box and whisker plots from data. So the steps for creating a box and whisker plot is first you have to have your data. So here below you can see we have a bunch of data points. The first thing we now need to do is look at those data points and find the minimum, the lower quartile, the median, the upper quartile, and the maximum. So let me remind you, the minimum is your least or smallest value or data point. The maximum is your highest. The median is then your middle data point when all of your data points are lined up in numerical order. And then the lower quartile is the median of your lower half of data. And the upper quartile is the median of your upper half of your data. So for this data, we have a minimum of 88. A maximum of 148, a median of 122, a lower quartile of 105, and an upper quartile of 133. Now that we've found those data points, we can actually mark a graph. So we can create the box and whisker plot by plotting all the 5 pieces of information we just found, and then drawing that rectangle and the whiskers connecting the lower quartile and upper quartile rectangle ends or box ends to the maximum and the minimum. So here we have our minimum of 88 approximately here at the end of that whisker, 148 approximately here at the end of that whisker. We have the median in the middle of our rectangle of 122. We then have our lower quartile marked at the left side of the rectangle or our box, and the upper quartile is marked at the right side of our rectangle or our box, all coming together to create the box and whisker plot. So for advice, I think it's important to first graph the minimum, then the maximum, then the upper quartile or the lower quartile or upper quartile. It doesn't really matter. You're kind of creating the rectangle or the box with those 2 values. So that's kind of your third and fourth step interchangeably. And then step number 5 would be to put the median, because then that's the middle of your box. So you can kind of create the line down your rectangle. So it doesn't have to be in that order, but that's a good order to make sure you have all 5 of your points and you really can draw your box and then put off your whiskers to your minimum and your maximum.